All right, last video here. Just some extra little things, actually. I'll start with this one. So converting radians to degrees, right? So again, if you have radians, you need to convert it to degrees. Just remember that same one we just dealt with, right? 180 degrees is pi radians. That's your conversion. So if I wanted to take radians and turn it into degrees, it's like very, very one-step dimensional analysis. Nothing like you had in chemistry. But I would take 100 degrees over pi radians because those two things are equal to each other, right? Not in terms of numbers. 3.14 is not 180. But in terms of the units, it's like 3 feet is 1 yard. So the radians would cancel out. Your units would cancel out here, and you would just be left with degrees, and you get degrees. And then vice versa, if you need to convert degrees to radians, you just use the opposite, or the reciprocal. And so your degrees would cancel out, and you would be left with radians. That's it. So if you want to convert 9 radians to degrees, you can do that. If you want to convert 120 degrees to radians, you could do that. Basically, with the first one, you'd have 9 radians, and you would multiply it by 180 degrees over pi radians. And the radians would cancel, and you'd end up with, whatever, 9 times 180. And then it would just be divided by pi. So 9 times 180, whatever that is, divided by pi. And I usually put in parentheses with a degrees symbol so that the degrees goes to the whole thing. 120 degrees to radians, you'd say, all right, well, 120 degrees, I'm just going to multiply that by pi radians over 180 degrees. The degrees would cancel, and you get 120 over 180, which is basically 2/3. So this would be 2 pi over 3 radians. And with radians, you don't have to label. You can actually just keep it the way it is. You can put RAD, though, if you want. Coterminal is another thing you might be asked for in the homework. So coterminal, find a positive and negative coterminal for 30 degrees. So this is 30 degrees, right? I said right here. This angle right there would be like 30 degrees. So here, let me do that again. We'll just kind of draw it like this. All right, that's about my 30 degrees. So I want to find another angle, coterminal, right? It also terminates at that same spot. Different angle, but one that's coterminal. So if I just start with this and then I add like another 360 degrees to it, I will have something else that ends on that same line, right? Coterminal. So basically, if I just add 360 degrees, I will find a coterminal angle. So 390 degrees and 30 degrees, they are coterminal. Different angles, but they terminate in the same spot. And if I just subtract 360 degrees, again, so I'm at 30, and I subtract 360, I will also end in the same spot. So negative 330 would give me a negative coterminal angle for 30 degrees, right? Now with 3 pi over 4, just remember 360 degrees is basically like 2 pi. So if I add and subtract 2 pi, which just to get a common denominator, I would write as 8 pi over 4. Same thing as 2 pi, but now you can work with 3 pi over 4. That's the exact same thing as adding and subtracting 360 degrees. So if I added 8 pi over 4, you get 11 pi over 4, which is coterminal. And if I subtracted 8 pi over 4, I get negative 5 pi over 4, which would be coterminal. Right? So summarizer, I want you to take these angles and draw them. And then I'd say once you do that, you can check. Once you do that, actually, you guys can go ahead and do the homework. Keys posted too, so you can check your answers. Good luck.